everybody. Welcome to Zone Defense. We talk all things NBA and NFL. Be sure to follow us on Spotify, Zone Defense Podcast, on Twitter at Zone Defense Pod, and hit that subscribe button down below because it really helps out our channel a lot. Also, let us know down in the comments if you think Russell Wilson or Pete Carroll will remain in Seattle after another terrible week. Today, we will be doing our Week 13 NFL game picks. How's it going, Chris?
What's going on, Drew? We're starting to get close to the playoffs here. We got a lot of teams still in the hunt, so it should be a very interesting week. But without further ado, let's jump into the news and notes. There's a lot of injuries to skill position players, especially the running back position. The main five, I would say, CMC, Dalvin Cook, DeAndre Swift, Zeke, Miles Sanders. Miles Sanders ankle, I think he'll be all right. Zeke. Also, he's going to play tomorrow. Swift has hurt his shoulder. He's going to miss some time, most likely. Dalvin Cook, also, I believe his shoulder injury. He's definitely going to miss some time. And then CMC, to my chagrin, going out for the season on IR. Have him everywhere, so this sucks. But, hopefully he can get healthy for next season. We have another big injury. Another, I guess you could call him running back, Deebo Samuel, with the groin injury. That looked bad, but I think he's going to be all right. We have Aaron Rodgers, the lingering toe issue. He's going to play 30. Looked fine last week, so I'm not really too worried about that. Then we got a couple tight ends and offensive linemen here. Jack Conklin, I'm not sure what the update is on him, but it did not look like a good injury. Probably out for the season. I'm not 100% sure how we're looking on that, but also Darren Waller hurt his knee, minor. I think he should be okay. Freiermuth with concussion, he may play. Who knows? And then lastly, Dan Arnold with I believe it was an MCL sprain, so he's going to miss some time. And then a couple other there's not a lot of other news and notes because, like you said, we're kind of waiting for that final few weeks to talk about the playoffs and stuff. But we could talk about some college football news here. A couple big things. Lincoln Riley is going to USC, and if you saw the contract, I understand why. A lot of people are thinking it's scummy that he went during the season, but can't really blame him for chasing a bag, I guess. I mean, he had a good job, but I would say the USC job is even better. And then also Brian Kelly, I believe is his first name. 100%, I'm not 100% sure on that, but he went to LSU from Notre Dame. I'm not a big fan of him at all. I think he pisses me off every time I see him. So I hope LSU sucks. And his seemed to be even more of a scumbag move. So I hope he doesn't have any success. But we'll also talk about Aiden Hutchinson or Kayvon Thibodeau. Which one do we think goes first overall to the Detroit Lions, the hometown heroes? For me, I'll start it off. I still think Thibs got to be the number one pick. I mean, Hutchinson, he's a beast. Don't get me wrong. Guy is an absolute monster, absolutely deserves some of the Heisman love he's getting. I don't think he's going to win, but he definitely deserves to be there. But if you didn't have Thibs' injury throughout the season, I think he got hurt in like week 2 with I think it was in that Ohio State game, actually, the sprained ankle. He would be right there as well. This guy gets pressure on the quarterback. He's the highest pressure percentage on dropbacks in the entire NCAA. To me, he's still the first overall pick. He's on that Myles Garrett level. I think it's a really awful football team like the Cleveland Browns were back then when they drafted Garrett. Same with the Lions with Thibodeau. I think it mirrors each other. So I think we got to go with Thibodeau at 1. But Drew, who do you think belongs at the top pick?
I think I agree with you. I think Thibodeau is probably the main guy there. I don't know. I'm just worried because Hutchinson. It's I know you should compare this, but it seems like whenever a Michigan guy gets drafted to the Lions, Michigan or Michigan State guy, or a guy who's from Michigan gets drafted to the Lions, they just never play well. I know that's just a stupid logical thing to do, but that's my main hesitation because Hutchinson is obviously very, very good, and showed that by I think he broke the sack record for Michigan in a season. He had just a monster performance against Ohio State last Saturday, so. He's going to be a very good player in the NFL, I think. And here's a fun fact for you also. I actually hit him in the back with a lacrosse stick. I played lacrosse against him in high school, and I hit him in the back. So that was kind of fun. So the fact that he might be the number 1 overall pick, that'd be kind of cool. And it would be cool if he was to go to the Lions, hometown guy, went to Divine Child, went to U of M, obviously. That'd be cool. But I do agree with you in your analysis. I think Thibodeau is probably the main guy there. And then just touch on the other news that you mentioned, Lincoln Riley to USC. I like. I feel like yes, they are scumbag moves, but at the same time, this happens all the time where like a guy will go to a different college before the bowl games and they don't coach during the bowl game. I mean, I thought it was kind of weird, but Oklahoma had obviously a relatively disappointing season, and they were supposed to be national championship favorites, and they really never lived up to that billing. And I thought the Brian Kelly thing was a little bit weirder though, because Notre Dame, I believe, still technically has a shot at making the college football playoff. And he just said, "Nah, I'm good. I'm going to LSU." So it's going to be a little bit harder for him, though. It'll be interesting to see how he adapts, considering LSU is an SEC school, so recruiting will probably be a little bit harder for him than it was at Notre Dame. And I think he also just became the winningest coach in Notre Dame history as well. So then he
Yep.
just kind of dipped. So Riley's I don't think was as scummy, but Kelly's was kind of scummy for those reasons. And then the injuries. I mean, I don't really have too much to add. DeAndre Swift kind of sucks for Lions fans, but don't really care about that team anymore anyway. So um, Debo Samuel sucks for my fantasy team, and CMC sucks for your fantasy team. And other than
Yep.
that, I don't really have too many things to add about those injuries. Did you have anything else you wanted to add before we get into the pick'em?
Now let's jump into it, man.
Okay, let's do this thing. All right, so we got Cowboys and the Saints. Who do you like?
Yeah. So in the Cowboys Saints game, I mean, I feel like the chalk pick here is to go with Dallas, but they have a lot of players and coaches on the COVID list. You got Amari Cooper coming back, returning. I think I'm going to go with the Saints in this one. I think this could be maybe if you decide to go with Dallas here, it could be a pretty easy win for you. But I am going to go with Roman here and go with the hometown New Orleans Saints. What do you think on this one?
Oh man, it's tough because obviously Dallas didn't look great last week. How did the Saints though? I know Kamara. I think he's probably gonna play, but I think that's
Yeah.
still kind of up in the air a little bit. It's not. There's no. He could still get banged up again. So I think I'm going to be a little bit different here. I'm going to go Dallas with this one. I think CD Lamb might play as well. That'd be huge for them to get an actual receiver back playing for Dallas. Dak's obviously been pretty good. They've had a good two-headed monster in Pollard and Zeke. So yeah, I think Dallas is probably widely regarded as the favorite. So I'm going to go with them here and hopefully pick up a game on you guys.
Yeah. Oh, one
Um,
thing we did not mention from this game either. Sorry to cut you off here, but
no
Taysom
problem,
Hill
man.
will be starting for the New Orleans Saints. I'm very excited to watch that. We may talk about him later, but go ahead. Let's start with the super exciting game of the week level game following this.
I mean, I don't even know if we need to talk about this one really. The Lions suck. I will say they're probably one of the best 9-1 teams ever because it seems like they could easily be a 4-win team. I think, and I know you did not have them projected as a 4-win team, but I know Roman and I did to start the year. So the fact that they easily could have won 4 or 5 games. I mean, look at Pittsburgh, Baltimore, even Cleveland, and then last week against Chicago, and even the first time against Chicago. I mean, it just seems like they find ways to lose games, and it's just crazy. But yeah, they're going to be another. They're going to continue to be winless against the Vikings, who I think it might sneak into the playoffs this year. I think they're a pretty solid team.
Yep. I don't really have much to add. Detroit sucks. That's why we were talking about them getting the number one pick because they are clearly going to yet again. But Minnesota should win this game very easily in Detroit. It doesn't matter. They could play on the moon. They'd win.
Yeah, and I don't want to take control here and just keep going number one, but I think we have another pretty easy matchup here. This is kind of a bad slate, dare I say. I mean, there's a lot of just
Yeah.
chalk picks. I think the Thursday night game might be the best game, arguably, of the week. But yeah, Houston sucks also. Indianapolis, it's kind of the same matchup. It's just the AFC version. Divisional foes, and like the Vikings and Lions. It's the same with the Colts and the Texans. The Texans are the worst AFC team. The Lions are the worst NFC team. Minnesota and Indianapolis are both probably not going to win their divisions, but they're probably going to make the playoffs as a wild card team. And they're both just not great teams, but pretty solid. So it's weird. These two matchups are very, very similar on paper.
Yeah. I again have nothing to add. Jonathan Taylor is going to go off in this one. Houston stinks. Indy's playing well despite a close loss last week, Tampa Bay. And I absolutely agree with you. Looking at the slate, it's not great, man. It's really not great. I'm not looking forward to this week as much as some others. But let's jump into the next one.
Yeah, and I mean, here we go again, right? I mean, Arizona, Chicago. I mean, I believe Kyler and Hopkins should be back this week. And I know they're still without Edmonds, but James Conner's been pretty good. Um, so their defense is still okay. Chicago's just in shambles with or without Justin Fields. So I'm not going first. I don't know why I'm setting it up like I'm going first. I'll hand it over to you. Who do you like between the Cardinals and the Bears?
Yeah, I got Arizona. I mean, it's a 9-2 football team that has played without Kyler Murray now for a few weeks. I think he returns. I think Hopkins will return as well in this game, and they're going to win fairly easily. I know Fields could potentially be back. Andy Dalton may still start. I have no idea, but it doesn't matter. Arizona's going to win this game and win it pretty easily in Chicago.
Yeah, I kind of just said a second ago. I agree. Arizona's just a better team. Chicago, they got lucky because the Lions are the Lions. Shout out to Andy Dalton for getting the pointless NFL on Fox Thanksgiving MVP award. He gets to kind of put that up on his mantle. I don't know why when I saw that I was thinking to myself, is that going to be like the only like sort of award that Andy Dalton ever receives in his career? That'd be kind of funny. But anyway, speaking of Andy Dalton, let's go to his former team now, the Cincinnati Bengals. This might, I don't know, Cincinnati's kind of been crappy recently too, but they were good last week. This might be the game of the week, actually. It's kind of an intriguing matchup, the Chargers and the Bengals. The Chargers have been kind of up and down recently, but so are the Bengals. These are both two kind of young and up and coming teams for the most part. This might be the toughest one to pick, I think, because Cincinnati, I feel like, is Cincinnati. I think I'm going Cincinnati. I When I pick them, they typically don't let me down, so I'm going to pick them again. The Chargers, I don't know, they're just not as good as I thought they would be. And it seems like they have some weeks where they're really good, they have other weeks where they're really bad. I feel like you're probably going to go Chargers because it might be an easy way for you to pick up a game on both me and Roman. But give me the Bengals. They haven't steered me wrong too many times this season so far.
Yeah, I mean this is a terrible slate, so I almost feel obligated to go with the Chargers here. I actually think Cincinnati may win this game at home. They looked really good last week against the Steelers. The Chargers have been very up and down. They looked absolutely dreadful last week against Denver in a game they needed to win after such a awesome start to the season. They have really, really cooled off. But I'm going to take the Chargers in this one. I think they need it a little bit more, and I think they'll get it.
Yeah, like I said, if I was in your position, I probably would have done the same thing. I think it's gonna be a close game overall. And yeah, we're moving on to now to Tampa Bay, Atlanta. Again, I think this is a pretty easy pick. Atlanta sucks. Kyle Pitts sucks. Calvin Ridley's still not playing. Matt Ryan sucks. Cordell Patterson's good though. But Tampa Bay, even though they haven't been like the juggernaut, I think we all expected them to be. They're still a very good team. So I'll hand it over to you though. Who do you like between Atlanta and Tampa Bay?
Yeah, I'm going to take Tampa Bay.
There we go.
I'm not going to get too crazy here. Tampa Bay, I thought they played pretty well. Their run game was really good against the Colts team that actually defends the run well. Atlanta does not defend the run very well, so I think Leonard Fournette could have another really nice game this week. I mean, he was awesome last week. The 4 touchdown performance probably carried a lot of people to fantasy wins and what was a slate with a lot of big names, not having good performances. Leonard was definitely one of them and is a guy that I mean, I know we're not at the fantasy section yet. I'm not going to pick him later because it's too obvious, but he's probably going to eat again in this matchup.
Yeah, he's been just. I know we usually dog him on this show, but Fournette's been really good this
He
year. I think
has
it's
been great.
going very under the radar for the most part,
I do
also.
too.
But yeah, obviously I put Tampa Bay down too. I think it's pretty easy. Atlanta sucks, and we'll move on to another really game that I don't care about: the Giants and the Dolphins. No offense to Giants or Dolphins fans. The Dolphins have been kind of good recently, and I believe the Giants won last week also. So this could be an interesting matchup. I see Roman went with the Dolphins. I kind of want to go Dolphins, but I'd never go Giants. So today I'm just going to go Giants because I feel like it. And yeah, we're going to put the Giants down. And I think it's going to be a pretty close game. Two teams that are not good, but not awful. And yeah, you're going Miami too. So that's interesting. Usually you're the Giants guy.
Yeah, Daniel Jones is actually. I'm not sure if you were aware of this because it hasn't been like a big time news. He's actually going to be out for this week. He's not playing in this matchup. So I don't know if that changes your opinion at all. Miami is honestly one of the hotter teams in the league as well. Their defense is playing a lot better, and with a backup quarterback out there, I don't really care what the weapons are for the Giants. They may have mostly their full assortment of weapons. It doesn't really matter to me. I do think this is going to be a close one, but I am ultimately going to take the Miami Dolphins.
Yeah, I changed my pick. I'm going with the Dolphins too. I forgot about the Daniel Jones injury. I feel like the Giants are actually not a bad team.
They're
They
not
just have
bad.
injuries literally all the time. I feel like if they were healthy, they'd be okay. Even Daniel Jones has looked okay at some points this year. But
I agree.
the Dolphins, they've been looking okay. I don't think they're not going to make the playoffs, obviously, but it's nice to kind of see they got some good positive momentum at least going into 2022. Now we've got the Eagles and the Jets. Again, I'm going to go first here. I think it's pretty easy. I think it's Philadelphia. No question about it. I don't care who the Jets have at quarterback. It's the Eagles. You going Jets here and shocking the world, or have anything to add for this game?
No, I do not. The only thing I have to add is that even if Jalen Hurts has a little bit of an ankle injury, I expect him to play. But even if he misses, I would never take the Jets in a matchup. Yeah, honestly,
There
if
you
they
go.
played the Lions, I'd probably go Lions.
Yeah, I think the Lions are a better team than the Jets. I think the Lions, honestly, even though they haven't won a game, are probably better than the Texans, Jets, and Jaguars, I would say. Dare
They
I
may be.
say. Um, but anyway, we don't need to get into that conversation. Next up, we got the Niners and the Seahawks. This is probably one of the best rivalries in the NFL, at least over the last decade. But I think, for me at least, there's a clear-cut favorite, despite their injuries, since the Seahawks have just been just terrible the last few weeks. But I'll let you go first. Who do you like?
Oh man, San Fran is playing well right now. Seattle, not so much. Oh man, you know what? I'm gonna go with Seattle. It's like I said, the slate stinks. This is a game that I feel like I could maybe steal if you go San Fran and the Debo Samuel injury. I think the Niners are going to struggle a little more to move the ball because Seattle's defense has been a little bit better as of late. I don't think Russ is going to be back to Russ cooking this game, but I think he's going to be a little bit better. I mean, he can't be much worse than he's been the last couple weeks. I think he'll be a little better, and he'll do enough to where they can win an ugly defensive game. And I'm not sure what the over under is in this one. I think I would definitely take the under. I think this is going to be a really gross game that I don't want to watch. Two kind of teams. San Fran probably a little better, but Seattle is really good at home. That's where I'm at, and I'm going to go with the Seahawks.
That's interesting, man. I was not expecting that. I feel like it's just tough because I feel like you raised some really good points there. I'm ultimately going to go with the Niners because I just think they're a better team. Like I said, despite the injuries in Seattle, it just seems like they keep shooting themselves in the foot, and I don't know what's going on with Russell Wilson. And it seems like there's a lot of drama there. It seems like it's going to get blown up here sooner rather than later. But ultimately, give me the Niners. Seems like they're able to win these games, even though it is in Seattle, like you mentioned. But yeah, this could be another easy win for you to pick up some games on Roman and I. Okay, now we've got Washington and Las Vegas. Washington's also been playing a little bit better recently, and same with Vegas as well. They had that awesome Thanksgiving game against the Cowboys. I'm going to go with the Raiders because I don't know Washington, even though they have been playing better. Um, I just don't like them that much, and I feel more confident in the Raiders eking out a victory. But who do you like?
This one's really hard because, I mean, Washington did just beat Seattle, but it was a gross game. They also did beat Tampa Bay a couple weeks ago. You know what? I just talked myself into Washington. I think, in the fourth quarter, they've had these. It's kind of weird. In the fourth quarter, they've had two drives kind of starting with like 10 minutes left, and then, they're only up by three or up by, a touchdown or something like that. And they're like, oh, you just go down and score a touchdown. They've bled almost the entire fourth quarter of clock on two different drives the last couple of weeks. And I think that's really impressive for them. And I think they can do it again against Vegas here. I mean, Vegas did look pretty good, pretty solid against Cowboys last week. But I think the Washington defense is finally starting to figure something out to where they're not just getting exposed. And Vegas is going to potentially be down Darren Waller too, and I think that's another big factor. So I'm going to go with the Washington football team in this one.
I might be an idiot then for picking the Raiders, but hey, you got to go off the beaten path every once in a while. So give me the Raiders. I'll tell you what I'm not doing. I'm not picking the Jags, regardless of how crappy Matthew Stafford's been playing. So shout out to all you losers out there who were like, Matthew Stafford's the MVP. Matt, it was the Lions' fault. Blah blah blah. Shut up, basically, is what I'm trying to say here. He still sucks. He still gets injured all the time. He's not a top 10 quarterback. He's just not a great, he's not a bad football player, but he's not great. And I think also, let's just give some respect to Jared Goff. Maybe he wasn't the main issue
Jesus
there or
Christ.
the only issue there with the Rams. Okay. But yes, doesn't matter. They can bring in all of their free agents and trades and all that crap. Sean McVay is still an overrated coach and they still suck. So, yeah, I'm
Yeah,
very happy that the Lions have their draft pick. Though. I think that'll be beneficial here down the line. But anyway, sorry to go on a tangent. What do you like about this game?
Yeah, I mean, I don't like much about this game. The Rams are going to win it because Jacksonville's a sub 500 team, and Matthew Stafford usually feasts on weak competition, which he will do again this week. He'll probably have a good game, and people will be like, "Yeah, is he back?" No, he's not. He does the same thing. He's doing the same thing he's done in Detroit. He's never beat a team that's 5 games over 500 ever in his entire NFL career. His record, I believe, is like 8-72 against teams that are over 500 in the league. This dude is the definition of his nickname fits.
Stat
Stat
Pafford.
Bradford. The guy, all the dude does is feast on weak competition. He is, 100% agree, he's not a top 10 quarterback in the league. While I think Jared Goff is absolutely miserable, and this is an upgrade for the Rams, they're still going to lose in the playoffs. It doesn't matter what they put around him. And they really haven't, and I don't think this is the whole story, but they really haven't looked like the same team since the loss of Robert Woods on their offense. I think he was a big
Yep,
factor in why they're having success. His ability to block, his ability to move the chains with some nice catches for them, I think has made a big impact and why they haven't been very good. And honestly, I don't know. I'm just kind of done with this team. I mean, I'm a Cardinals fan, so I'm absolutely and also a Lions fan. So I've been loving this recent Rams failure, and I hope they lose in the first round of the playoffs because they're definitely not winning the division now.
me too.
And I honestly think they're going to get bounced by it. I just don't think they're that good. They're fraudly.
Yeah, 100% agree. This is what happens when Roman doesn't make the episode. Is we can just go just ham on Matthew Stafford and the Rams because we both dislike them so much. But yeah,
Yes.
it's again, and even just as an unbiased, as I don't like Stafford the way he left, and I don't like the Rams. I don't like Sean McVay. But even just standing objectively, if you're like a Lions fan, it's gotta be pretty cool though because it's gonna help our draft picks. I think because we have
Yeah.
their next two or three first. I think so.
Two first rounders. Yep.
Um, so it's gonna be pretty crappy though for the Rams if you gave up all that and you're not gonna win a playoff game. But anyway, Baltimore Pittsburgh here. Pittsburgh is just kind of sucked recently. Baltimore's might be the best team in the AFC. For me, there's a clear cut winner. But what do you think, Chris?
I mean, part of me wants to get a little crazy again and pick Pittsburgh, but I'm not going to do that in this one. I mean, somehow the Ravens won last week, despite Lamar throwing 4 interceptions and playing the worst game of his NFL career. He's not going to do that again against Pittsburgh, who has honestly not been that. Their defense has been suspect lately. This is not a matchup that scares me for Lamar Jackson, this offense. I think they're going to have a good week, and I think that they're going to win this one. I think it'll be a close game because I think Pittsburgh is in desperation mode. But Big Ben is so abysmal and easily one of the worst starters in the league. And he looked even worse than he has all season last week against the Bengals, and he just provided them with literally zero juice on offense. So I think the same thing happens again this week, and Baltimore does win this game.
Yeah, I kind of set it up there. What I was gonna say, Baltimore's my pick here. I think it's gonna be a pretty reasonably easy, and maybe not an easy one. These division matchups are always kind of crazy, but Pittsburgh just hasn't looked great the last few weeks. I think they're exactly what we expected them to be. They're just an average football team. I think the Ravens are pretty good. So I am going with the Ravens. Now we've got Broncos Chiefs. The Broncos had a pretty surprising victory last week, and the Chiefs are looking like the Chiefs more and more each week. So I'm going to go with Kansas City, even though Denver's been, as they showed last week, they're able to kind of sneak up on some teams and make things interesting. So you never know, but they've also looked pretty bad. In several parts of the season also. So I think this might be one of those weeks. I think the Chiefs might win. Most likely will win pretty handedly. This is kind of a crappy Sunday Night Football matchup too, if I might say.
Yeah,
But
I believe this one might have got flexed into Sunday night, but I think Denver is playing decent football right now. Coming out of the bye, they looked really good last week. I thought Pat Surtain went off. He had 2 interceptions, including a
yeah,
long pick six. And I'm hearing some rumors, and my fantasy team may not be very happy about this, but he may be on Travis Kelsey in this Sunday night football matchup. So I wouldn't expect a big game from Kelsey this week if that's the case, because he has been one of the best corners so far, at least in the last couple seasons, and that is a direct shot at the Lions because we drafted a loser and we could have taken Surtain this year instead, and he is much better. But anyways, yeah, I want going Kansas City. I think it is going to be a pretty close one, but I still think they'll end up getting the job done coming out of the bye.
I just love this just unnecessary shot at Jeff Okuda, but Penny Sewell's look pretty good, so I'm happy that we have him. But we could have had Tua or Justin Herbert or somebody
Yeah,
else instead of Jeff Okuda, who I kind of forgot was even on the Lions because he doesn't even play because he's hurt, and when he does play, he sucks. So
yeah,
again, Roman's not here, so we can let our true feelings show about the Lions and everybody. But anyway, I agree there. I think the Broncos have looked okay, but the Chiefs have also looked really good recent weeks, and I think that'll continue. All right, the final game. This is actually the game of the week. I don't know why I kept saying other games of the week. This is the game of the week. Monday Night Football, Patriots, Bills. Basically, the battle for the division. Might even be the battle for the AFC number one seed, depending on how things shake out. Um, I'll let you go first here, Chris, because I went first on the last one. Who do you like in this enticing match? Unless you want me to go first, because I kind of have
Now,
my mind made up of who I'm going to pick.
I'll take the lead, and I actually think I know who you're going to go with too. I think we're going to be on the same page here. I'm going to go with the hottest freaking football
I
team
am.
in the league, and that is
Damn
the New
straight.
England Patriots. I'm drinking the Bill Belichick Kool-Aid. Honestly, dare I say that this might be my Super Bowl pick from the AFC? I mean, that's the level of greatness they've been playing at. Mac Jones looked ridiculously good last week. Kendrick Bourne, apparently, I didn't know he was DeAndre Hopkins or whoever other elite receiver you want to call him, but he's honestly been very
Uh,
sneakily
Jacoby
awesome this year.
Myers. It's been
Yep, Jacoby
awesome.
Myers, Hunter Henry's been good. This running game is
Janu.
good. Their offensive line is good. Oh, that guy sucks, but
He
their
looked okay last week. Revenge game
first
against Tennessee. He looked okay.
First time for everything. But their defense is also elite. They don't turn the ball over. Josh Allen, honestly, I know they beat New Orleans very easily last week, but he did throw two bad interceptions in the game, in my opinion. He's been a guy that's made mistakes. And if you throw two interceptions against this New England Patriots team, I doubt you win. So, Buffalo, I mean, this is two very good teams. They have the better quarterback, but I think the way New England is playing right now, I think they can go on the road and steal one here in Buffalo. And like you said, might get that one seed. And honestly, I would love to see a Patriots Buccaneers Super Bowl, and if somehow Bill Belichick wins a ring with a rookie quarterback, I will. It'll blow my mind. I mean, I don't know what else I'll do with this. This guy's unbelievable, and he's easily locked up Coach of the Year and everything. It doesn't matter what they do the rest of the year, but they're going to win this one.
I mean, Belichick basically did it with a rookie quarterback when he went with Brady the first time.
That's true.
But that was Brady. I think that was technically Brady's second year, but it was his first season as a starter. So, that'd be awesome. That when the Patriots and Bucks played earlier this season, that game was maybe my favorite game of the year. It was a really fun game to watch. So that Super Bowl would be a lot of fun as well. Yeah, and I agree with everything you said. The Patriots, I mean, like Judon has looked really good on defense as well. They're just firing on all cylinders at the moment. And Buffalo, it just really isn't. And if you're a Bills fan, I mean, it's just got to suck because you thought last year, like finally, we destroyed all the Patriot demons from our past. We're ready to be the Super Bowl contender we think we can be, and then
Right.
you right next year they're right back at it and making your life miserable. So, yeah, I believe they play again though, right? This is only their first
Yes,
meeting, so they
I
play again
believe
later in
so.
the year. So this isn't like the end all be all, but it's a very very important game nonetheless. And yeah, it'd be pretty crazy if the Patriots made it because I know. Especially how they started the season, I know they didn't get off to a great start. So I know at least I thought they probably weren't going to make the playoffs. And even at the beginning of the year, it was like they'd be like a bottom half wild card team at best. So the fact they're probably most likely maybe going to win their division and might even be the number one seed in the entire AFC. I mean, it's pretty nuts to think about. But
Yeah.
if you don't have anything else to add, we can hop into our fantasy picks. I know you have Romans picks. If you want to
Yep.
go through those really quick, and then you can give your first guy.
Yeah, so Romans picks really quick. Daryl Henderson against the Jacksonville Jaguars. I mean, this one makes sense. I would say it's a little bit of a more easy pick to make because Henderson's been pretty solid throughout. He hasn't been as good lately, but he's been pretty solid. He's a little banged up right now, so we'll have to see if he is going to be active for the game. But this is Jacksonville. His team sucks. He should eat against them. And then he also went with Joe Burrow against the Chargers defense, which honestly, I'm not going to lie, I kind of disagree with this one. Uh, the Chargers defense, I think, is good. Also, Cincinnati runs like the one of the fewest amounts of plays in the league, and they've just been running it down team's throat with Joe Mixon. I don't think if Burrow's going to have a good fantasy game, I think he's going to have to throw three touchdowns in like 25 attempts, which is in my opinion, just not. There's a lot of guys you could start over him. In a two quarterback league, absolutely, I'm playing him because this game has a shot to be a shootout. This team just runs such a slow pace. Their defense is decent. The Chargers the same way. Their defense is also not too bad. I also think there's a shot Cincinnati wins this game easily. I think that's always. I know I picked the Chargers, but they could dominate like they did last week against Pittsburgh. And then in that case, I don't think Burrow's going to have a great game. So that's just my opinion on that. But I'll go into my first guy, and I'm Drew. I'm curious. You may have this guy as well. He's a running back filling in for another starter who's now injured, and that is Jamal Williams, running back for the Detroit Lions against the Minnesota Vikings. I mean, this is a plug and play, high end number 2 running back, in my opinion. I think this is a guy that's an absolute must start in almost every lineup. Minnesota's defense is not good. They looked absolutely dreadful last week against collection of Elijah Mitchell, and then I know I keep bringing him up as a running back, but Deebo Samuel had 70-2 against them as well. Plus the Elijah Mitchell, I believe, might have been the RB1 of the week. So Minnesota's bleeding point. Their defense stinks. I mean, they get torched. It's however you want to beat them, you can beat them on the defensive side. I don't think it's enough for the Lions to get a victory even at home, but with DeAndre Swift out, Jamal Williams is a guy that I'm absolutely starting, and I think he's going to have a nice game.
Yeah, so I'll just run through all three of those picks we went off. Your first one in Romans 2 real quick. Daryl Henderson, not much to add there. I agree. It's a pretty safe pick by Roman, and I think he's going to have a good game. And then Roman kind of went the other opposite route and get a really hard pick there with Joe Burrow. And I just don't really, like you said, I don't really get it completely. I wish he was here to kind of defend it because it's not even like Burrow's entering with a ton of momentum. I got his stats up right here. He's got 7 points, 9 points, and then 16 in his last 3 games. And those are against worse defenses than the Chargers. So I don't entirely get it. But hey, who knows? We've been wrong before. And then, as you mentioned, Jamal Williams, it's like you're in my head, was the guy that I was going to pick. So I like that for every reason you mentioned. He's also been kind of good in a limited role behind Swift. So now that he's the lead back guy, I think he's going to be pretty good. And we saw in past seasons when he was with Green Bay, when he does have that lead back role, he can be very fantasy relevant. So I have him on my team in our league, and I'm trying to figure out whether or not I should play him or not. But we'll figure that out when the time comes. Okay, so I'll hop in now to my 2 players. I had to tilt a little bit because obviously, as I mentioned, I did have Jamal Williams, and now he's off the board. Um, However, I think I'm going to go again with a guy you actually mentioned earlier while you were talking, and that's Elijah Mitchell. Again, this might be a pretty basic pick. I know I just ripped Roman for going basic, but I'm going to go basic too. He's been kind of up and down at some points. The injuries have really limited him, but he had 133 on 27 attempts and a touchdown last week, which was just insane. And he gets an even juicier matchup this week, in my opinion, at least, against a Seattle team that again is just bleeding points to running backs. They're 31st against the run. So for me, it's got to be Elijah Mitchell. Did you have anything you want to touch on with Mitchell before I get into my other guy?
Yeah, for Mitchell, I love this pick. I think I agree it's a little bit of an easier call, but I think this is a smash matchup for him. I mean, if you remember, literally recall 2 days ago or whatever, however many days ago, Seattle against Washington, Gibson had over 100 rushing yards, caught like 7 passes, and then J.D. McKissick also got in the end zone 2 times. So they gave up 2 RB1 performances last year, and that's been the story the entire year. They've been getting torched by basically everybody. This is no different. I expect Elijah Mitchell, especially without Deebo Samuel, to be extra necessary this week, and I think he's going to eat.
Yeah, I hope he eats because he's on my fantasy team. So hopefully he does really good. He was very, very good last week for me. So,
Oh yeah.
so for my second pick, so Mitchell was like the first guy. It was gonna be Mitchell and Jamal. So this is my backup option. So it's a little off the board, I think at least. But I'm going Devontae Smith with the Eagles. I know he is currently questionable, so he might not even play. But if he does play, I think he's going to have a really nice game against the Jets, who are like league average against the pass. But he's still a very good option. And in the event that Devontae Smith doesn't play, I'm also going to give some shout out here to Sterling Shepard, who I think, even though he's been pretty up and down this year, if he plays again, so I'm going with 2 questionable guys here to make up for 1 healthy guy. He's also a little banged up. They're playing Miami, who's 30th against fantasy wide receivers. So I think as long as they play, both Shepard and Devontae Smith can be very fantasy relevant. Of course, with Shepard, you got to worry about the quarterback, and same with Smith actually. But there's a lot of buts there. But I do like them because I want to go a little off the board since my first pick was pretty chalky.
Yeah, I mean, the Shepherd. I hope you have faith in Mike Glennon because, like I said, Daniel Jones will not be out there. That one is one I do disagree with again a little because I think Miami's defense has been a lot better as of late. It's still like it's Shepard. You're probably going to get a pretty safe game out of him, but I don't think he's got a lot of upside in this one. Guess we'll have to see. But I do like the Devontae Smith call a lot. I think New York, you can beat them however you want to, and they will do that. And I think Devontae Smith, he didn't get the ball very much last week because Jalen Hurts was absolutely dreadful against that Giants defense. I think he has a much better week, a bounce back, get right game for Hurts against this Jets defense. And I think that the entire, as you're going to hear in about 2 seconds, this entire offense is going to bounce back. But I'll give two, I guess technically 2 to 3 picks here almost, because since you went Eagles, I'll talk about this guy. It's Taysom Hill tomorrow night against Dallas. I think he's going to have a great game. Absolutely would start him almost, as a top 10 quarterback easily. In my opinion, he's going to have a nice game. Uh, Not really a whole lot to add. He's always a QB1 when he does play, so this is no different. And he is going to be confirmed the starter for that game. And then the other one is also in that Eagles game. It's the running backs. It's Miles Sanders or Boston Scott, whoever the starting running back is for the team, because the Jets absolutely bleed fantasy points to running backs. Another team, similarly to the Vikings. Honestly, that might be the three worst run defense in the league that we went with this week. The Vikings, the Washington football team, and then the New York Jets. All three teams bleed points. Sanders is a little banged up. I feel like he might play. I think he got a little bit of action after the injury, so I think he might play this week. But if not, Boston Scott is he's a sneaky RB2, and I think he'll have a good game. He had a good game last week with Sanders being a little bit limited. He had their lone touchdown in the game as well. But I think Sanders in this one, I thought he was going to have a really, really good game last week. He would have had he not had the injury. So I think this is a good, get right game, as you could put it, for this whole offense, and Miles Sanders included. So I'm hoping he plays. I think he's going to have an RB1 week.
Yeah, I like those picks a lot. And yeah, getting an RB 1 week from Miles Sanders would be pretty big if you've hung on to him because he's had a not a great season so far to this
No.
point with the injuries and everything. So, but like you said, I think it's more so on the Jets sucking than it is on Miles Sanders being good.
Right. Right.
But if you are going to play, if you have held on to Sanders and you just need to play him or you want to play him, this is probably the best week possible to play him. And
Agreed.
similarly, if he doesn't get it going this week, if he does play, it might be time to really, really hit that panic button because you're probably never getting anything from Sanders. But yeah, I like both your picks a lot. But yeah, did you have anything else you wanted to add here before we get out of here?
No, going through the episode, it's really not a great slate. I'm a lot less excited to watch NFL football than I was before this episode, but I'm hoping, some of
Sorry.
these games surprise us a little bit.
Yeah, I think the Monday game is great, but yeah, the Monday and the Thursday game, the two games that aren't on Sunday I think are pretty good, but the Sunday slate, yeah, it's pretty bleak. It's just not a lot going on there for the most part. Outside of probably Chargers Bengals, but I know we said the same thing a few weeks ago, and it wasn't as bad as we thought. But then we did say it a couple other weeks ago, and it was even worse than we thought it was going to be. So have to wait and see. But I know we're still going to watch it nonetheless. But once
Right.
again, we are the Zone Defense Podcast. We do these episodes of the NFL every single week, along with fantasy analysis and breaking news episodes. So be sure you subscribe to us on YouTube and follow us on Spotify and Twitter at Zone Defense Pod, and search us on Apple Podcasts. Be sure to smash that like button down below and leave a comment. Let us know. Let us know your thoughts on this terrible slate. Let us know your thoughts on why the Lions suck. Let us know your thoughts on why Matthew Stafford and the Rams also suck. And also who you think the AFC number one seed's going to be, whether it's going to be the Patriots, the Bills, the Ravens. That seems like it's probably the most interesting race happening right now. We love to read all those comments on those topics. Anything else you feel like writing down there, we'll try to respond to them as quickly as we can, as always. But once again, thank you for listening to this episode, and we will see you next time.
Peace.